Class, I am doing a super quick little video instruction to help walk you through some of the material that you're going to be working on this week. This is for the class of Ruth. So go to Google Classroom, make sure you go into classwork because the stream is way too confusing and overwhelming to figure out what you've done, what you haven't done. So come to classwork, and this is week 15. I have reworded the assignments to say 15.1, 15.2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. So hopefully that will help you understand what you should be doing when, or at least my suggestion on what you should be doing. And I will let you know in this video when I think you should have everything done. So first is your memory verse. So your memory verse is in Psalm 23, the last one. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will follow me all the days of my life. It's a beautiful verse for you to memorize. Make sure that you type it as well as write it on a note card. Yes, it's two things. It's going to help with your memory. Also, open up the...
Seniors, I need the following seniors to see Mrs. Kilburn in the school counseling office, please.
Open...
Alex Lacey, Evan Ritchie, Hadley Tanner, Tyler Williamson, Paul Wyatt, Eli Oaks, Nick Temple, and William Travis to see Mrs. Kilburn in the school counseling office, please.
All right, so you need to look at the context. So go to your Bible app, put in Psalm 23, and here is your verse. So what's the context of this verse? It's a Psalm of David. So David's the one writing it, so you need to write that down there. And then again, what does this verse mean to you? Now, your reading assignment this week is pretty self-explanatory. It is the book of Ruth. So the first 4 chapters are the 4 chapters of Ruth, and you do need to create a storyboard line. Now, I do know that this is going to somewhat overlap what you worked on last week from the video, the Bible Project video. But I still want you to outline the story, doing a storyboard, reading the first 4 chapters of Ruth. There is a podcast. This is a really good podcast. This is Shari King. She is works at a church in South Carolina. She is a great speaker and has this podcast called Overcoming Monday. And I was listening to these a couple weeks ago and thought this would be absolutely perfect. So what I want you to do is figure out who is, you can start with episode 36, 37, 38, 39, do one episode this week. Ideally, people in your triad, I would want you to do different ones so that you can talk to each other. Unless you think that you're going to be able to listen to all of them, they're about 30 minutes long. So you only have to do one. But if you want to do them all, then by all means do that. But this assignment is click on the podcast, listen to the podcast, and complete a dialectical journal. So again, when you do this, this is one thing that Shari mentioned, or Clayton King, or whoever it is she's interviewing in there. Typically, when you cite an audio or video, you put in the time, so 2.36 seconds or whatever it might be. You don't have to do that for this class, but I do want you to know that that is how you cite video or audio. And then you need to have at least 3 things about this quote or whatever it is that the person said that you find interesting or important, or maybe it's a critical thinking question or something. So come up with 3 quotes and then explain or elaborate on those. Here's your form question. Make sure that you answer the question and then come back in and answer or follow up with 2 other people in your class. And those responses, at least one of them needs to have a critical thinking question. Your worksheet assignments are pretty self-explanatory. There's 2 this week. And then your weekly assessment and prayer, I will give you time to do this on Friday or Thursday. Remember, this week, half of the people in Ruth will be having their heartness on Thursday or day 3. The other half of the people will be having it on day 4. So I suggest that you have, by the end of day 1, your memory verse and your reading done. Have those 2 grayed out by the end of day 1. So come into class, put your earbuds in, start working. Day 2, I would suggest working on the podcast and maybe answering the form question. At least the podcast. That way, for the last day, if you have the memory verse, the reading assignment, and the podcast done before Heartness, you will be very well prepared. And then that will just leave the worksheet assignments and the forum post for the last day. So that should be the way that you work through it. And hope that's helpful, and have a great